Hey guys, welcome back to the Brik House. Brik here, and this morning Pokemon Unite dropped the Pokemon Presents, which lasted roughly 25 minutes going over various information on their titles, and I'm going to be breaking down everything important to note, everything that's being confirmed, as well as some things that you may have missed when, especially regarding to this Legend ZA. So, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and without further ado, let's get right into the video. So kicking off the direct, we got some updates on the animations department, some new episodes for Pokemon Concierge, as well as another company taking a stab at it with a new animation called The Misadventures of Sirfetch'd and Pichu. So a bit interesting that Pokemon is not being so protective of their IPs and letting these other studios kind of take a stab at what they wanna at Pokemon as well, by having their own Pokemon universe. So we then go into Pokepark Kanto, which is a real-life Pokepark they're going to be making. I expect to see a lot of Pokemon from the original 151, although you probably see a lot of Pokemon as well from the Gen 2 games. The Pokepark is actually something introduced in Pokemon Gold and Silver. So it's really interesting to have a real-life version of this, and definitely just another reason why going to Japan is a must-be on a lot of people's bucket lists. So to kick things off in the games department though, we had a Pokemon Go announcement about the Go Fest happening this year called the Max Finale, and it will also be introducing Eternatus as a catchable Pokemon. Pokemon Masters EX is also getting Carmine. Her and her signature Pokemon Poltegeist will be available now. And also, Pokemon Sleep had introduced Suicune, Entei, and Raikou. So, if anyone still for some reason plays Pokemon Sleep, well, they're making their way up the Pokédex list. So, there had also been an announcement of a new Amber Arena happening in Pokemon Sleep. Do with that what you will. Moving on to Pokemon Unite, which a lot of people here may be more interested in. Not too much information in terms of confirmations that we got. Latios and Latias had their trailers in this Presents, showing off some of their moves, really focusing on the ability to fly to each other mechanic. Latias is going to be coming to the game on August 8th. They also announced that Electrode Volleyball is available right now, today, and it's a 3v3 quick mode, which may be a bit of fun to do in between ranked matches. Definitely something that can be worn out very quickly. So my recommendation is don't play too much of this game mode and get burnt out too quickly. We also got the confirmation that Palmont is the next Pokemon coming after Latias. We can expect sometime mid-September that Palmont will be introduced into the game. It will be a 3-stage evolution Pokemon, and so far that's all we got. So whether it's an all-rounder or an attacker, that's still up in the air. We also have a code to give a free Platinum Latios and Latias emblem. They're not the best emblems, to be honest, in terms of the stats that they give. However, this does mean that for the first time you can make a full Navy set, all 7 Navy seals in one emblem set, which wasn't possible before. That is if you've also participated in the Miraidon Platinum emblem event that happened upon his release. This code will also give you a 3-day limited license for Latios. So something to kind of tie you over until you finish that dice board and unlock Latios, since he can be unlocked with just coins. So that's all from Pokemon Unite. Now moving on to the trading card game, they have a Mega Evolution set that is going to be releasing to kind of tie into the Legend ZA that's coming out. Sets focusing on Lucario, Gardevoir, Kangaskhan, and Venusaur. One thing interesting to note is that Pokemon has also released a phone game that is released right now. It is focused on doing daily puzzles and also features collectibles of essentially virtual stuffed Pokemon. Interesting concept over there. It's called Pokemon Friends if you want to download it. It is available today, right now. So moving on, we had some updates for the Switch 2 version for Scarlet and Violet enhancing the graphics, and also an announcement for some Terra Raid events. Flashing the dates on the screen right now are currently shiny locked in the game, so this is actually the only way to get them. It won't be as easy as just defeating the Pokemon. We had to defeat 1 million to be able to catch the Pokemon. So not as easy as just getting in and getting out as some of these other Terra events have been. However, 1 million is a fairly low number, so I'm sure the community is going to pull through. And make sure you just participate and get some free shiny Ruin Pokemon, which who knows when they'll be available again. Most likely in Pokemon Go through a paid event, right? There's also some mass outbreaks that are appearing all over the region right now, so increased shiny chances on these mass outbreaks if there's any shinies of this list that you were looking at. We also got an update to Pokemon's Pokemon Showdown clone / new VGC format, it seems, going forward. It definitely has a lot of crisp animations and is trying to streamline that even more so than they have in recent games, which is definitely a plus. There still is going to be some kind of currency, it seems, tied towards doing so. We still are waiting for more information on this game, and will be coming still not on a solid date, but in 2026. Next we have Pokemon Legends ZA trailer, which is the real reason why many of us have tuned into this direct now. They started off with showing Mega with Absol going to a Mega Evolution. However, I do want to point out that, as a kind of spoiler, but we don't see Mega Absol once during this trailer. Perhaps maybe they're planning something else with Absol. We do know that Absol has a Mega Evolution, actually Kovina's partner Pokemon back in the X and Y game, so one that is tied to the main story. However, again, a bit suspicious, I would say, that we don't see what this Mega Evolution is right now. I don't know if it changed, I don't know if maybe there's 2 Mega Evolutions, perhaps. So the trailer goes on, and there's a couple more Pokemon that got confirmed, and I'm not going to go through every new Pokemon that may have been confirmed through this trailer. Most of it has been documented already, so for the sake of time, we'll just kind of skip through any newly introduced Pokemon. We get introduced to the evil villain's lair, and it seems that this person in this room has a bit of a fascination with snakes. Now, on the side of the walls, you'll see Mega Steelix paint drawings, which, I mean, Steelix is a giant snake, right? He's also battling with an Arbok, so not exactly a steel type, but also poison type at the same time. And looking at the emblem behind him, you'll see that it does kind of give this imagery of poison. But you could also kind of stretch that maybe he could be a dual type, steel and poison typing. It gives an indication on what to expect with some of these kind of what you can call Pokemon boss battles moving forward. Instead of them being a single type specialist, they could perhaps specialize in 2 different types. So next we get introduced to this character, Emma. And Emma will get a formal introduction later. However, if you were keen, you'll recognize that name from the X and Y games. Emma was a small girl, I believe around 8 years old in those games, and in those games she was a bit troubled, and she essentially joined an evil group, and you, alongside of Looker, help her come back to the good side, essentially. You leave off the game, Looker and Emma essentially looking after the Looker Bureau, which is an investigatory unit in the games. Interestingly, as we can probably suspect from previous trailers, that these games are going to take place in the future, not the past, as many people originally suspected. And Emma has clearly aged up. I could say 15, maybe even 20 years. Could be more, could be less. I know there's a lot of discussion on when in the Pokemon timeline do these games take place. That's a very good indication on actually getting a very specific date. Just kind of pointing at the Emma character and seeing how old they are compared to the previous games. So just off that alone, we can say these games are roughly 15 to 20 years in the future, I would say. Right after that reveal though, we get an introduction to a long leaked Pokemon. There may have been a lot of doubt whether or not those leaks were legitimate. However, there have been a lot of coverage over this one, which is Mega Dragonite. Mega Dragonite now sprouting the wings from its head and keeping the orb that Dragonair had from its tail, Pokemon even went as far to make note the fact that it kind of keeps in line more so with its Dragonite appearance. So next we get introduced to some of our friends and rivals throughout the journey. First we have Urbane and Tawny, which invite us to join what they call Team MZ, which is the latter half of the alphabet. Interesting enough, we know AZ is in the game, so a lot of A to Z, M to Z, we're gonna see like a A to L kind of organization perhaps, and you will also be joined by Naveen and Lita. Now what's interesting is that this strikes a bit of resemblance to the original Gen 6 games. Instead of giving you one or two rivals, they gave you a whole group of characters, which some kind of acted as rivals and some acted as more of a friend type. And even, I believe one of them was even a dancer, which we got a professional dancer in this one as well. So again, a bit of imagery there, perhaps even the daughter of a character or a sibling, right? We later get introduced again to that character we saw earlier, whose name is Corbeau, who is said to be a boss of what is called the Rust Syndicate. So what struck me initially, as being from Canada, I am familiar with a little bit of French, and Corbeau is, I believe, French for raven. Now, Pokemon does like to demonically name all of their things. Think of the professors all being named after oak trees. So, not that it means too much at this point right now, but it does seem that the evil villains might have a sort of bird, and even like those evil kind of birds we sort of have, like vultures, as for instance, as being the naming scheme for the evil syndicate in this game. As usual, they operate within Lumio City and are there to make everyone's lives miserable. And after a couple of shots, we get shown Emma again, and Emma is then revealed to be the leader of a detective unit, taking over the spot that Looker actually had back in the X and Y game. So, interestingly enough, she's actually going to be playing quite a big role in this story, and perhaps even a couple throwbacks to the X and Y games. There's a lot of unanswered questions we had from then that hopefully can get answered now. So we also get introduced to Mabel, which I believe is also a reoccurring character who's older now and is going to be acting as this game's professor. And then we get kind of introduced to the system, a merge of Scarlet Violets with the previous Legends Arceus game, where you're going to be doing side quests to be gaining more access to TMs to kind of help you in battle. Then we get shown a Mega Evolution battle in a style very similar to how we took down the Titan Pokemons in Legends Arceus. And what's interesting here is that these battles are actually going to require you yourself to have a Mega Evolution on your teams. So we get a little bit of a sizzle reel of some Mega Evolution of some Pokemon Mega Evolving, and then another shot of Zygarde. Still not too sure what he's doing in this region, but he's definitely looking for something. Release date also dropped. Now, Pokemon Unite did leak this a little bit earlier, but we officially have from a trailer now the release date for Pokemon Legends EA, which is October 16th, 2025. So now one more thing to note about that trailer is that we saw actually a horde of Binnacle, which is very interesting, and I'm not too sure if this is some confirmation that
horde battles will be in this game.
It'd be really interesting to see them return, especially since Binnacle wasn't even a Pokemon that could be in a horde battle in the original game. So very interesting to see if this is just a part of a quest or if this is going to be a mechanic in the game where you can encounter 5 Pokemon at a time. If you're a shiny hunter, you're going to be extremely happy about those news. And what I find is the most sly, in-your-face tease in this trailer was this Esper. Now, I have no idea what's going on with this Esper, and it was only on the screen for maybe a second, but it is a pure white Esper. Looks like it's a regional variant of some sort of Esper. Not too sure on what's going to be done with this. We actually even do see its evolution later on in the party in this trailer, so it does look like both forms are going to be appearing within the wild within this game. However, this does seem to be some special Esper. Might also be just tied to Emma. It was found in this scene in her office, so it could be much like AZ's Floette, where this is a special, very, very special type of Pokemon that can't be caught in the wild anywhere. Would definitely love to see some more information about that. and would also love to see if there's some sort of evolution for this thing. Even if there's like a male, if it has like a male female split evolution like its predecessor. But we're just gonna have to wait and see what they're gonna do with this. That was everything you really need to know from this Pokemon Presents trailer. Not too much information. We're still kind of being drip fed some of these important aspects, such as, you know, the legendary Pokemon for the games. Is it truly going to be Zygarde? Is there another Pokemon we need to be looking out for? What is Zygarde even doing in the games? He's clearly looking for something. We even have the Mega Absol that I just personally find extremely suspicious why they would choose not to show us a Mega Evolution of a Pokemon we already have seen before. And then to top it off, we got this Esper over here, which, again, more questions than answers when it comes to these trailers that they've been dropping, but hopefully we're going to get those games in our hands soon and we can finally answer them. Anyways, let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think about Mega Dragonite? Is that do you like its design? Do you not like its design? Do you think it's a bit unnecessary for Dragonite to get a Mega Evolution? Maybe there's another Pokemon that you thought is more deserving? I would love to hear. I've been Brik Fantano, and hope you guys stay nasty.